but nevertheless, I am sure a lot of you guys are going to be really excited that we have a new true crime case. Now, guys, I know it's been a minute. I know it's been a while since I uploaded a true crime video. I actually used to do them a lot on my channel. If you are a newer subscriber, then you wouldn't know that, but true crime videos were very popular on my channel at the beginning. However, true crime videos do take significantly more kind of time than normal ASMR videos, and I guess, you know, I got into a bit of a rut with uni work and I kind of forgot about true crime in a way, and then my new subscribers never requested true crime, so I kind of just left it, and then you know, I kind of forgot that so many of you guys still love true crime, and I never want you guys to feel left out. So I hear you, I've read your comments, and here we are with a new true crime case. Let me know how you guys enjoy it, and I will definitely add true crime back into my YouTube kind of schedule. I actually have been doing quite a few more true crime cases on my Patreon as well, just because I do have quite a few Patreons that like true crime. So if you are interested in joining my Patreon, I do loads of different ASMR videos there, and I will link it in the description. I will link it in the description if you are interested. But yes, today we have a true crime case. I am in my snuggly grandma cardigan because, you know, need a bit of comfort. All jokes aside, today's true crime case is genuinely a very difficult one. I had heard of this case briefly. In fact, I won't lie, I think I saw it on TikTok, because I love true crime, and true crime is quite popular on TikTok as well as YouTube, and that is the Hello Kitty murder. So today we will be looking into the case of the Hello Kitty murder. It is really horrific. I will put out a trigger warning right now. This case kind of contains really horrific details of torture. I will not be going into a huge amount of detail, so don't worry, this video won't be incredibly gruesome, because we are an ASMR channel after all. But yeah, the overall theme of this video is not nice, so a little bit of a trigger warning there. And my notes are to the side of me, so if I am looking off to the side, that is why. So let's get into the video. So as a preface to the details of the case, in May of 1999, a 14-year-old girl under the pseudonym of Avon went into the police station in Hong Kong and told the police that she was being haunted by the ghost of a murdered woman. Now, the police really didn't take her claims seriously. As she said she was being haunted, the police just kind of shoved it aside and thought it was just, you know, teenage drama, maybe attention. Maybe the girl was kind of not, you know, mentally sane. You know, they kind of brushed off her statements. However, the girl Afong kind of kept saying that she was being haunted by this woman who had been murdered, and because the girl was giving so many details take them to an apartment, and it was within this apartment that Afong said that this woman had been murdered. So the police, investigated the flat, and what they found was beyond anyone's prior assumption. They were shocked as to what they found. So, going back in time to the victim of the crime, 23-year-old Fang Man Yi was living in Hong Kong. She hadn't had a very good life. She was an orphan, or she was given up by her parents, so she was brought up in a children's home. So she had a pretty rough start to life, and by the time she was a teenager, Fan Man Yi was a drug addict, and she had turned to prostitution for a living. She turned to prostitution to make money. By the time she was 23 years old, she was working as kind of a waitress, as a hostess within a nightclub. And unfortunately, there's not a ton of details as to what her life was like, but there is kind of overwhelming evidence to kind of say that she was unfortunately a drug addict, and she was having a pretty tough time, and she was still kind of involved within prostitution. So this poor woman, just wasn't at a great place in her life. So whilst working at this nightclub in 1997, so 2 years before the crime took place, Fan Man Yi met a man named Chan Man Lok, and Man Lok was a pretty affluent man. Affluent probably isn't the correct word, because he was a drug dealer and a very well-known pimp, and it was said that they met in the nightclub where Fan Man Yi worked, and there isn't a ton of evidence as to what their relationship was. They definitely weren't a couple, but it is likely that Fan Man Yi was kind of working for him occasionally as a prostitute, and it is also likely that he was also getting drugs for her. So Manlock was her pimp and likely her dealer. So that is kind of their relationship at this point. However, in 1999, so that is kind of when the story kind of takes such a horrible turn, and again, there is not concrete evidence to suggest which way it went in terms of the next details of the case, but it is believed that Fan Man Yi stole the wallet of Man Lok. It contained thousands of dollars in cash, and it is said that she stole it out of, desperation, maybe need for money, need for drugs. Not 100% sure, but she stole the wallet, and this made Manlock extremely upset. There are reports that Manly did not steal the wallet, and it was in fact a lie made up by Manlock's jealous girlfriend, and the girlfriend is none other than Afong, who was the 14-year-old prostitution. That was the original plan. However, that is not what happened. Devastatingly, Man Yi was kept in the flat by the 3 men. She was kept as a sex slave. She was relentlessly tortured in horrific ways. I won't go into too much detail about what they did to her, but it was horrific. They beat her, they burned her skin, and they forced her to do horrific things. So the torture for Man Yi was absolutely horrific, and it went on for weeks. She was kept for weeks enduring the torture. Something that I find even more horrific is that A Fong, the 14-year-old girl, was actually an active participant within the torture of Man Yi, which I find so difficult to kind of comprehend. But there is not a whole lot of details about what A Fong did to Man Yi, because A Fong was the one who alerted the police to the place of the crime. She got a plea deal, so she was protected by the police, and the information of her involvement was kept secret. But it is said within the sources that I read, that she was an active participant in the torture of Man Yi, which is horrific. So, after over a month of torture, Man Yi did pass away. It is very likely that she passed away due to extensive injuries. However, all 3 of the men claimed that she died because of a drug overdose that she took herself. I mean, she was a drug addict, but also they would say that, they would say that she died of a drug overdose. I personally do think it is likely that she sadly passed away due to her extensive injuries. However, that is not the worst of the case, which is baffling. This poor woman suffered so greatly, and that is not even the worst of it. So, just a quick trigger warning, I will be discussing some details about what happened to her body. So if you are particularly just maybe mute for a minute, just want to go out there. So when they realized that Man Yi was dead, the 3 men picked up her body and took it to the bathtub. It was within the bathtub that they dismembered her body, and they decided the best way of getting rid of her body was to cook it. They cooked her dismembered body to stop the natural smell of decomposition, and basically just to kind of hide the body easier. I guess they thought if they just disposed of her body, then someone would maybe come across it. So they did boil the remains of Man Yi, and then they threw the body parts away. However, they decided to keep Man Yi's head. They kept her head, and they put it in a large doll, a large Hello Kitty doll. It was like a stuffed doll of Hello Kitty, and they placed her head inside of the toy, and that is why the case is called the Hello Kitty murder. Again, there police did note when they found Man Yi in the Hello Kitty toy, they noticed, that the whole flat had a lot of Hello Kitty merchandise. There was Hello Kitty teddies and Hello Kitty towels and plates, so there was a motive of Hello Kitty. I know that obviously Hello Kitty is a massive icon, mainly for children. I'm not entirely sure why there was so much Hello Kitty in the flat and why they decided to keep Man Yi in the Hello Kitty toy. I think, it is absolutely beyond me. It is so depraved. It's quite difficult to talk about. Obviously, this case is very horrific. But yeah, and they did also keep a plastic bag with some of Man Yi's organs and some of her teeth. Again, it is horrific. I guess we can just put this down to trophies. It's very common for murderers, mainly serial killers, to keep trophies of their victims, but I think this is pretty out of place in this case, because we have no idea about these men. They could well have been serial killers, but I don't know, it just kind of adds to the shock and the horror of this case, the fact that they kept so kind of moving forward in time now. So Afong went to the police. She said that she was being haunted by this dead woman. They didn't believe her, and then eventually they said, wait, we're gonna look into this. So the police went to the flat and they found Man Yi's remains, and then they knew obviously that this was a real crime. So Afong did testify against all three of the men and stated that they were the main perpetrators of the crime. In return, Afong was completely protected. Again, this is probably partly due to the fact that she was a minor as well, so she, I believe, did not receive any punishment for her participation in the crime. However, this is something that really makes my blood boil, but none of the men were convicted of murder. They were all convicted of manslaughter, and the reason for this is because there was no empirical evidence that they had actually killed Man Yi. They said that she died of a drug overdose, and unfortunately, because of the state of her remains, there was no way of knowing. There was no way to do tests, really. So all three of the men were charged with manslaughter. However, they were all sentenced to life in prison. So they didn't just get off with no time. They got time. The judge said that it was one of the most horrific and depraved crimes that Hong Kong had ever seen, which I can imagine it's one of the most horrific cases that I've ever personally come across, and I've done a lot of true crime. So yeah, all three of the men were sentenced to life. Afong was protected due to her, her involvement in the uncoverment of the crime. And I believe that I read that none of the men were able to appeal until 2019. I haven't found anything about whether they got out. I'm sure they haven't, but I might kind of look into that a little bit more, seeing as 2019 is obviously very recent. I would hope that all three of them are still serving their sentences. Maybe I'll pop in the description box if I find anything of note was the case of the Hello Kitty murder. I know it was pretty heavy. I hope you guys enjoyed is the wrong word, but I know some of you guys love true crime, so do I. We are all very morbid as human beings. We have morbid curiosity about these things. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you are staying so safe and so well. Please leave me a comment if you liked this case. Leave me a comment if you want to see more true crime, and let me know if there is a specific case that you would like me to cover, because I will definitely do that for you guys. But yeah, without further ado, that is it from me. I love you guys, and I will see you